AITA for purposely stopping my classmate from winning an award and subsequently making her cry? This issue has been consuming me, and I can't seem to find peace. Almost everyone around me seems to believe I'm in the wrong, and they talk behind my back, judging me without knowing the full story. I'm honestly at a loss, questioning everything I did and whether it was the right thing. I feel so alone in this, and I'm desperate for some clarity. Please, if you can, help me understand. I'm 17 now, but my life changed drastically when I was 13. I suffered a severe accident while cycling, leaving me with 2 deep, long scars on my face. These scars have become a part of me, but they also turned me into a target. The bullying was relentless. People called me names, mocked my appearance, and treated me like I was something less than human. They'd say things like, "Why don't you just hook up with author's name?" as if being with me was a joke, a punishment. I got used to it, as much as one can get used to being ridiculed every day. Those people didn't matter to me. I built a wall around myself, protecting whatever was left of my self-esteem. But then there was this girl, someone I'd known since middle school. Let's call her Beck, for simplicity's sake. Beck was different, or so I thought. I'd had a crush on her for years, harboring feelings that I never dared to express. She was sweet, kind, and seemed to have a genuine warmth that I craved. My family, who has always been my rock, encouraged me to ask her out. They saw how much I liked her and wanted me to take a chance. So, I did. I poured my heart into a song I wrote for her, played it on my guitar, and went out of my way to get her favorite chocolates from a city nearby. It was the first time I felt brave enough to put myself out there, to show someone who I really was. I hoped, naively perhaps, that she would see past my scars and accept me, even if only as a friend. When Beck accepted my invitation, I was over the moon. We went to a fancy restaurant, had a wonderful time, and even walked together for 30 minutes afterward. She was so sweet to me that night, and for a brief moment, I felt like I was living a dream. The following week was nothing short of magical. Suddenly, people noticed me, her friends were kind to me, and for the first time in years, I felt like I belonged. Every day, I cried tears of joy, overwhelmed by the love and acceptance I was receiving. It was as if all the pain and isolation I had endured were finally worth it. But that illusion shattered when one of Beck's friends, who followed her on Instagram, sent me screenshots of her posts. I was devastated, my heart sinking as I read the cruel words she had written. Beck had posted things like, fulfilled his lifelong wish by being his Valentine, making his day by finally helping him interact with my friends, and, he is ugly, but beautiful people accept ugly people, with hashtags like #uglypeoplematter. The friend explained that Beck had been using me to boost her social media image. She wanted to win a Positive Role Model award for her college application because she was behind on her community service hours. To her, I was just a tool, someone she could play with for a few days to make herself look good. She had even planned for her friends to be nice to me until March, and then they would gradually distance themselves from me. I was crushed, betrayed, and disgusted. My blood boiled with anger and hurt. I couldn't believe that someone I had trusted, someone I had cared for, could be so callous. I did some research on the award she was aiming for, found a Facebook page about it, and confirmed with the authorities that her name was on the nominations list. With my family and friends as alibis, I reported what I had discovered. Soon after, Beck received a message from the committee saying her nomination was withdrawn. She started crying, and I became even more ostracized at school. People looked at me with disdain, whispering behind my back, but I didn't care. I felt no remorse. In fact, I felt a grim satisfaction knowing that she wouldn't get to use me or anyone else to further her selfish ambitions. The aftermath was chaotic. Beck's friends turned on me, accusing me of ruining her life, while others at school distanced themselves from me even more. I was back to being the outcast, the one everyone avoided, but I was okay with it. I had exposed the truth, and that mattered more to me than their opinions. As time passed, the situation began to fade from the spotlight, but the impact it had on me remained. I spent a lot of time reflecting on what had happened, trying to make sense of it all. I realized that I had to be careful not to let this experience turn me into someone bitter and vengeful. I didn't want to become like those who had hurt me, using others for their gain. I wanted to hold on to my integrity, to remain true to myself, even in the face of betrayal. Then, something unexpected happened. As I moved on from high school and entered college, I found a new sense of freedom. College was different. People didn't know about my past, and I had a chance to start fresh. To my surprise, I made friends, real friends who saw me for who I was, not just the scars on my face. I started doing well academically, and my social life blossomed in a way I never thought possible. It was like I had been given a second chance, and I was determined to make the most of it. One day, I reached out to the girl who had sent me the screenshots of Beck's posts. I thanked her for helping me see the truth, and we began talking more. Over time, she became one of my closest friends. She had been there for me when I needed it most, and I was grateful for her honesty and kindness. Life was good, and for the first time in years, I felt genuinely happy. My parents were thrilled to see me thriving, and I even started dating someone who appreciated the cheesy, romantic gestures that were a part of who I was. She liked me for me, and that was all I had ever wanted. But as happy as I was, I couldn't forget the messages I had received after my story went viral. Some people had sent me supportive messages, encouraging me to stay strong, but others had sent horrifying suggestions, telling me I should have used Beck for revenge, taken advantage of her, or even exposed her in a more malicious way. It made me sick to my stomach. That wasn't who I was, and I couldn't understand how anyone could think those things were okay. I realized then that the world was full of darkness, but it was also full of light. My mother, the friend who had exposed Beck, my coworkers, they were all amazing women who had shown me kindness and support. I refused to let the actions of one person, or the disturbing suggestions of a few, change my view of the world. There was still good out there, and I was determined to be a part of it. So, I joined a few charitable clubs on campus, giving back in ways that felt meaningful to me. It helped me heal, and it reminded me that I had the power to make a difference, even if it was just in small ways. Now, as I sit here reflecting on everything that has happened, I can't help but feel grateful. High school was hell, but it's behind me now. I'm in college, surrounded by people who care about me, and I'm living a life that I never thought possible. It's not perfect, there are still scars, both physical and emotional, but it's mine, and I'm proud of how far I've come. To anyone reading this who might be going through something similar, I want you to know that it does get better. The pain, the bullying, the betrayal, it won't last forever. There are people out there who will see you for who you are, who will appreciate and love you, scars and all. And when you find them, you'll realize that everything you went through only made you stronger. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone who supported me, who reached out with kind words, and who helped me see that I wasn't alone. I'm not sure where the road will take me next, but I'm ready for whatever comes. And I hope that wherever you are, you're having a beautiful day, too. Lastly, I want to say this: don't let bad experiences turn you into a bad person. It's easy to become bitter and resentful when you've been hurt, but it's so much more rewarding to stay true to who you are. There's good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. And if you ever feel lost or alone, remember that there's always someone out there who cares. You're not alone, and things will get better. As I look back on everything I've been through, I realize that life is a series of ups and downs, filled with moments that challenge you to your core, but also moments that lift you up in ways you never expected. College has been a new chapter for me, one where I've been able to rebuild myself, not just from the outside, but from within. I've learned to see my scars not as something that defines me in a negative way, but as symbols of strength, resilience, and the journey I've survived. In the months that followed my initial experience with Beck, I found myself reflecting more and more on the people I met and the relationships I formed. Each person who came into my life taught me something valuable, even if it wasn't always obvious at the time. Some taught me about the cruelty that exists in the world, like Beck and her friends, who showed me that not everyone has good intentions. But others, like the friend who exposed Beck's true motives, reminded me that there are people who are willing to stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean forgetting. I've come to understand that it's okay to let go of the anger and resentment, but it's also important to remember the experiences that shaped me. They serve as reminders of what I've overcome and what I'm capable of facing in the future. As college continued, I became more involved in activities that allowed me to express myself and connect with others who shared similar interests. I joined a music club, where I could play my guitar and share the songs I'd written. Music had always been a way for me to cope with my emotions, and being surrounded by others who understood that was incredibly healing. We'd spend hours jamming together, creating melodies that captured our shared experiences and individual stories. It was in those moments that I felt a sense of belonging, something I had longed for during my years in high school. My relationship with the girl I started dating continued to grow as well. She wasn't just my girlfriend, she became my best friend, someone I could confide in and trust with my deepest fears and insecurities. She saw me for who I truly was, beyond the scars, beyond the pain, and loved me for it. Our relationship wasn't without its challenges, but we faced them together, always communicating openly and supporting each other through the ups and downs. One day, while we were walking through campus, she looked at me and said, "You know, I don't think I've ever met anyone as strong as you. Not because of what you've been through, but because of how you've chosen to live your life after everything that's happened." Her words struck a chord with me. It wasn't just about surviving the hard times, it was about how I chose to move forward, how I chose to let those experiences shape me. I realized that I had the power to define my own narrative, to take control of my story, and to decide what kind of person I wanted to be. And so, I made a conscious decision to live with intention. I wanted to be someone who spread kindness, who offered support to those who were struggling, and who didn't let the darkness of the past overshadow the light of the present. I started volunteering at a local shelter, working with children who had experienced trauma. Seeing their resilience, their ability to smile and laugh despite everything they had been through, inspired me to keep pushing forward. It reminded me that no matter how hard life gets, there's always hope. Over time, I began to notice a change in myself. I was no longer the same person who had been crushed by the cruelty of others. I was stronger, more confident, and more at peace with who I was. I stopped caring about what others thought of me, and instead focused on the people who truly mattered, the ones who loved and supported me for who I was. My relationship with my parents also deepened. They had always been my biggest supporters, but now, as I grew into adulthood, I saw them not just as parents, but as individuals with their own stories, their own struggles, and their own triumphs. We would sit and talk for hours, sharing our thoughts and feelings, and I found comfort in knowing that no matter what happened, I would always have their unconditional love. As I moved through college, I continued to pursue my passions, excelling in my studies and building meaningful connections with those around me. The scars on my face were still there, but they no longer felt like a burden. They were a part of me, but they didn't define me. I was more than just my past, more than the pain I had endured. I was someone who had learned, grown, and thrived despite it all. In my final year of college, I was approached by a professor who had heard about my involvement in various charitable activities. She asked if I would be interested in speaking at a conference about resilience and overcoming adversity. At first, I was hesitant. The idea of standing in front of a crowd and sharing my story was daunting, but I knew that it was an opportunity to make a difference, to reach out to others who might be struggling. So, I agreed. I spent weeks preparing, reflecting on everything I had been through and what I wanted to share. When the day of the conference arrived, I stood in front of that audience, my heart pounding in my chest, and began to speak. I talked about my accident, the bullying, and the betrayal I had faced. I shared how those experiences had shaped me, but also how they had led me to discover my strength, my resilience, and my capacity for compassion. The response was overwhelming. People came up to me afterward, thanking me for sharing my story, telling me how much it had resonated with them. Some even shared their own experiences, opening up in ways they hadn't before. It was in that moment that I realized the power of vulnerability, the impact of being open and honest about our struggles. By sharing my story, I had given others the courage to share theirs, and in doing so, we created a space of understanding and support. As I near graduation, I find myself looking toward the future with a sense of optimism and excitement. I'm not sure what the next chapter will hold, but I know that I'm ready for it. The experiences I've had, both good and bad, have prepared me for whatever comes next. I've learned to trust myself, to embrace who I am, and to never let the opinions of others dictate my worth. In the end, life is about more than just the challenges we face. It's about how we choose to respond to those challenges, how we grow from them, and how we use our experiences to make a positive impact on the world around us. I'm proud of the person I've become, and I'm excited to continue this journey, knowing that no matter what happens, I have the strength to face it head on. To anyone reading this who may be going through a tough time, I want to leave you with this: you are stronger than you think. The pain you feel now will not last forever. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and when you reach it, you'll find that you are capable of so much more than you ever imagined. Keep pushing forward, stay true to yourself, and never give up. The world needs people like you, people who have the courage to overcome, to grow, and to make a difference. As I stand on the brink of graduation, I often find myself reflecting on the journey that has brought me here. Each memory, each experience, is like a thread in the tapestry of my life, woven together to create a story of survival, resilience, and ultimately, transformation. The boy I was when this all began, scarred, bullied, and isolated, feels like a distant echo, a shadow that lingers in my past but no longer defines me. The final months of college have been a whirlwind of emotions. There's excitement, of course, at the prospect of stepping into the world with a degree in hand and a future full of possibilities. But there's also a bittersweet feeling, a quiet sadness that comes with saying goodbye to the place and people who have become a second home to me. College was where I found myself, where I learned to embrace who I am, flaws and all. It's where I discovered that I am capable of love, of friendship, and of making a difference. One of the most rewarding experiences has been my continued involvement in the charitable clubs I joined. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to work on various projects that have touched the lives of many people. From organizing food drives to mentoring younger students who are going through difficult times, I've found a sense of purpose that goes beyond personal success. Giving back, helping others in need, has become a core part of who I am. It's taught me that even in a world that can be cruel and unforgiving, there's always room for kindness, for compassion. As I've grown more confident in myself, I've also become more vocal about issues that matter to me. I've spoken out against bullying, sharing my own story in the hopes that it might help someone else who's struggling. I've worked with others to create safe spaces on campus where students can come together, support one another, and find solace in knowing they're not alone. These efforts have not only helped others, but they've also helped me heal. They've allowed me to reclaim my narrative, to turn the pain of my past into a force for good. The relationships I've built during this time have also been a source of immense joy. My girlfriend and I have grown closer with each passing day, and I cherish the bond we share. She's been my rock, supporting me through the highs and lows, and reminding me that love isn't about perfection, it's about acceptance, understanding, and being there for each other, no matter what. We've made plans for the future, talking about our dreams, our aspirations, and how we can continue to grow together. My parents, too, have played an integral role in my journey. Their unwavering support, their belief in me, has been a constant source of strength. I know that no matter where life takes me, I'll always have them by my side, cheering me on, proud of the person I've become. They've seen me at my lowest, but they've also witnessed my transformation, and I can see the pride in their eyes every time they look at me. It's a reminder that I'm not just living for myself, I'm living for those who love and believe in me. As graduation day approaches, I've been thinking a lot about what comes next. The world is vast, full of opportunities, and I'm eager to explore it. I've applied to a few jobs that align with my passion for helping others, and I'm hopeful that I'll find a place where I can continue to make a positive impact. But I'm also open to the unexpected, to the adventures that lie ahead, knowing that whatever comes my way, I have the strength and resilience to face it. In these final days of college, as I walk through the campus one last time, I'm filled with a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the people who have walked this journey with me, for the lessons I've learned, and for the person I've become. Life hasn't always been easy, and there were times when I didn't think I'd make it through. But here I am, standing tall, ready to take on the next chapter with courage and determination. So, as I prepare to step into the future, I do so with a heart full of hope. I know there will be challenges ahead, but I also know that I'm ready for them. The scars on my face are still there, a reminder of the past, but they no longer define me. They're just one part of my story, a story that is far from over. I'm excited to see where life takes me, and I'm committed to living each day with purpose, kindness, and a determination to make the world a better place. To anyone who has followed my journey, who has supported me, or who is going through their own struggles, I want to say this: never give up. No matter how dark it may seem, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Keep fighting, keep believing in yourself, and know that you have the power to overcome anything. Your story is your own, and it's up to you to write it. Make it one that you're proud of. As I prepare to leave the familiar halls of college and venture into the wider world, I can't help but feel a mix of emotions: excitement, anticipation, and a bit of trepidation. But beneath it all is a quiet confidence that I've earned through every challenge I've faced and every victory, big or small, that I've claimed as my own. The memories of my journey, especially the painful ones, still linger. There are moments when I catch a glimpse of my reflection and am reminded of the taunts and whispers, the times when I felt like I was drowning in a sea of judgment. But those memories no longer hold power over me. They've become a testament to my resilience, proof that I've not only survived but thrived despite the odds. The scars that once felt like a curse have become symbols of my strength, marking the battles I've fought and won. Graduation day finally arrives, a day I once thought I might never see. As I walk across the stage to receive my diploma, I feel a surge of pride that's almost overwhelming. It's not just about the academic achievements, though they matter. It's about everything this moment represents. It's about the boy who was broken and bullied and the young man who stands here now, ready to take on whatever comes next. My parents are in the audience, their faces beaming with pride, and my girlfriend is there too, cheering me on. When I catch their eyes, I feel a wave of love and gratitude wash over me. They've been with me through the darkest times, and now, they're here to share in this victory. I know that this moment is as much theirs as it is mine. After the ceremony, we gather outside, surrounded by friends and classmates, everyone celebrating the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. There's laughter, hugs, and a few tears as we say our goodbyes and make promises to stay in touch. But amidst the joy, there's also a quiet sense of closure, a feeling that we've come full circle. That night, as I lie in bed, I think about the future. There's so much I want to do, so many dreams I want to chase. I want to continue my work with charities, helping those who need it most. I want to travel, to see the world and experience all the beauty and diversity it has to offer. I want to keep writing music, sharing my songs with others, and maybe, one day, perform on a bigger stage. And I want to keep growing, learning, and becoming the best version of myself. But I also know that the future is uncertain, full of twists and turns that I can't predict. There will be challenges, no doubt, and times when I'll question myself, but I'm ready. I've faced uncertainty before, and I've come out stronger each time. Whatever lies ahead, I know I have the strength, the resilience, and the support of those who love me to face it head on. As I drift off to sleep, I feel a deep sense of peace. My journey hasn't been easy, but it's made me who I am. I'm proud of the person I've become, and I'm excited to see where life takes me next. The scars, both seen and unseen, are a part of my story, but they're not the whole story. There's so much more to come, and I'm ready for all of it. To everyone who has been a part of this journey, thank you. Your support, kindness, and love have meant the world to me. And to anyone out there who's struggling, remember this: you are stronger than you know. Keep pushing forward, keep believing in yourself, and never give up on the possibility of a better tomorrow. Life is a journey, and every step you take brings you closer to who you're meant to be.